Okay, so hello everybody. Thank you for taking your time on a Wednesday to be with me. Let me add these people. Wow. Okay. I'm planning on doing this, like I said, if you were here earlier, every Wednesday night during August. Some of you may have attended the webinar that I put on last month. I did two of them, and we had 305 people for the one 4 weeks ago, and the one a week ago, we had 389 people. And the demand and interest in learning how to fundraise in 2022 and also how to network is amazingly high. And many of you may know I'm an investor and sit on a number of investment panels at a lot of different events. And the thing I can tell you is that things have changed this year. They're not quite the same as they were in the last decade. It's harder to link up with investors and get final investor decisions. Although I love all these events that I do attend, and if you're interested in doing an entire pitch with your pitch deck, I highly recommend the Startup Bright, B-R-I-T-E. You can look them up on LinkedIn, Startup Bright. I'm one of the investor panelists. We actually can use two more in August because we have people on vacation, and one event is going to be tomorrow night and another will be 2 weeks from tomorrow. We do it every 2 weeks on a Thursday night, and we do have some amazing investors, one group of which invested 20 million into over 50 startups last year. And there are some real reasons to consider doing a Startup Bright event, especially if you're looking to get a very warm, nice audience that even if we want to offer critiques, we do it in the nicest way. And if you're just practicing pitching in front of investors, it's a great event. Luke is probably among us or is arriving here shortly. And I encourage everybody to use the chat to basically get to know everybody. And that will probably be the best way for everybody to start connecting tonight. Possibly next week or the week after, I'll do breakout rooms. I'm just basically getting my sea legs as to how to do all this. But the long and short of it is LinkedIn, Zoom will only allow me 100 people to join this meeting format. When we did the webinars last month, I could have up to 500 people and there was no problem. But because we only were allowed 100 people that could actually join this format, it created all kinds of problems today because the demand to be at this event far exceeded the 100 slots that we had. And a lot of people were confused because LinkedIn doesn't really explain very well that you need to not just say yes to the LinkedIn event, but then there's also the link to register. And the first 100 people who actually register on Zoom then are the ones that are getting into these events. So I'll try and figure out how to plan these a little bit better as we go forward in the future. And I understand some people's frustration. So tonight I want to get as many people in as possible to introduce themselves so that we can build a community. Why do I want to build this venture starters community? Hold on, let me just admit a few more people here. Keep popping in. I personally believe that where we are with the startup ecosystem is that the economy has changed enough that it's harder to find and connect with the right investors, and it pays to try and build a network of people that you personally know, even if you only know them modestly, versus pitching total strangers. I don't think pitching total strangers is in as much as it used to be, but pitching warm introductions are. And networking is really, really important. And as an investor, and I can speak for other investors who are on right now, we prefer to be introduced to a startup through somebody. We prefer to invest in startups where we at least know one of the people on on the team. A lot of what I've been doing in the last few years during the pandemic, since I can't invest in everybody and everything that is presented my way, is I oftentimes have just recruited somebody who has a family and friend network that is the right network to come and join the startup, so that they don't have to be pitching total strangers. They can literally have warm introductions, and that leads to better results and outcomes. And some of you who are on this in this event actually know that I've been successful at raising a lot of money this way by literally just recruiting people, not for their skills per se, but for their network. You know, early startup companies need people that who they know is sometimes more important than what they know, and you can always buy the team that knows everything if you can raise the money. But it makes a lot of sense to have that on that early team, people who know the right people. Absent that, since not everybody can afford to bring other people on, and it's possible to bring lots of people in without having to pay them salaries, you know, for sweat equity, for other types of compensation. But absent that, networking events, in my opinion, are going to be one of the better ways for us to start to link people up together so that we can, you know, literally make magic happen. And I have been able to make magic happen many times in my career as a result of literally just attracting the right person to work with who could open up the right doors. And that's a lot of the success that I've had. And many of you may be familiar with my history, but if you're not, you know, I'm a firm believer in networking at a very high level, and startups don't really know how to do that always. So that's why I'm creating this community. We're called Venture Starters because we are the people that start ventures. And there needs to be a home and a place for people who start ventures where they can go and mingle and get to know some names, see some faces, and not be total strangers to the entire community of investors. I hope that in September in particular, when a lot of the investors that I know are back from vacation and, you know, whatever they're doing, that, you know, we'll even have a stronger set of investors and venture capitalists that will join us, because I am friends with many, and, you know, I'm looking forward to just finding better pathways to connect everybody together. So I would appreciate it for those of you that are going to speak tonight that you try and, you know, make it somewhat short. I'm not looking to have slideshows or slide decks for this event. We will have other events where that happens. I have a few notes here. One thing you should know is I will not have time to look at the chat once tonight. So if you want to reach out to me directly, don't assume that I can read the chat, bring people, like I have to add Kevin back into the room right now as people keep coming, and then also being the moderator. So if you'd like to reach out to me, my email address is venture1starters@gmail.com. You can send any size deck to that Gmail account. So it's kind of it's a good one if you're wanting to reach out to me with a lot of data. venture1starters@gmail.com. Let me also mention a few rules for tonight. Let me get to that. Simple rules. Please stay on mute unless you are talking. Please be nice to everybody. You know, it's easy to be critical of some of the startups. We have a lot of startups that are going to be pitching tonight, including John that just is arriving right now. There's plenty that are going to be on tonight, and they're going to do their best to just do an elevator pitch. Most of them would prefer to hide behind the slides and let the slides and the images lead, you know, which I completely understand. But for tonight, my goal is just for people to get to know each other so that we're actually creating a community. We have had over 1,000 people already sign up to follow the Venture Starters page on LinkedIn, and we've barely been putting together these events now for 4 weeks. So, you know, I can see that this community is going to grow to be something really sizable this year. And, you know, I want to try and find a way to connect the right people to each other so that you guys as startups and you other investors can find each other. Right now, it's hard to find each other. You know, the event, you know, I get sent every week at least 10 decks and I can't invest in all of them. And speaking on behalf of other investors, they're in the same situation. There's more decks, more pitches going on now than ever, and there's less money that's being invested because changes in the economy are real. Valuation deflation is real, not just of public companies, but even startup companies. So companies we invested in last year, the year before, those values are, I don't want to say tanking, but they're going down. And everybody who's an angel investor has to be thinking about all of that this year. And that's among the reasons why things aren't quite as rosy now as they once were. That all said, please limit the amount of time. To those that are speaking, if you will, let me just add, hold on, people are still arriving. If you will please, after you say whatever you're going to say, introducing yourself or introducing your startup or explaining why you're here, what you're looking for, and we'll try and get to as many as possible tonight. This isn't an event where I'm going to be doing all the talking. Just want to basically find enough of the right people to actually present. Please go to the chat and then just say, here's my LinkedIn profile, or here's my email address, or give people some way to be able to communicate with you if they hear something in your pitch that impresses them enough to want to reach out now. It may turn out that you might have to attend a few of these events, become, known over a period of time before, people are going to start reaching out the way that you want them to. This is sort of like we're all in a bar together, and we're all strangers to each other tonight. We're just starting to get to know each other. And in fact, if you, are sitting back and drinking a beer while you're watching this, great on you. I mean, this can be I want you to be hanging out tonight, hanging out on your Wednesday nights, and finding the people that your startup needs. Or if you're investing, this might be where you find the diamonds in the rough. Place people that don't know necessarily where to go and pitch, that find us, our community, and expose themselves. And now there's an opportunity to find those diamonds. So, I'm not looking to make money in each transaction of introducing all of you. I want you to know that. This to me is sort of a give back to my beloved startup community. I've been investing in startups for 45 years. 25 of them I've been investing in startups that I wasn't running. And, I've learned a lot along the way, and I actually have lost so much money on startups. I could literally write a book on how you lose money. But, at the end of the day, I do believe networking is a critical factor, and the startups that have people on their initial team that know the right people, they're the ones that succeed. And the ones with great ideas, great patents, don't necessarily succeed if they don't know the right people, if they're literally just stuck because they don't know somebody. So this community is to try and bridge that gap, bridge that problem. And I'm hoping that over time, there'll be some mentors that will emerge. There'll be investors that'll emerge, and we can actually, like I said in the beginning, make magic happen. So let me see what else I needed to say before I start to make some introductions. Okay, so I do agree that the structure of this event is a little undefined right now, and I'm looking for feedback from the community as to how best to utilize your time and introduce everybody. Breakout rooms have been suggested, and I might try those later, but if anybody wants to give me any suggestions, please let me know. I don't want to pretend that I'm the best at putting on large-scale events. The one thing I can tell you is I have a pretty magical network of amazing investors, amazing startups, and nobody's really ever met each other, and I just want to start getting people together. So one of the tragedies of only having 100 people that could be in the event tonight is a beautiful gentleman named Hugh Seth interviewed me on his podcast 10 days ago, and he was going to be a co-sponsor of this event, and he did not get in the event because we ran out of space, and that's a shame. And essentially what he did, and I'm also offering this up to everybody else here, it will help build our community if we can also tap your networks as well. So when I put together these future events, even knowing that we're selling out, without a cost of tickets, obviously, but we're getting at full maximum capacity, I think I'll resolve that. But I'd really like to ask all of you that are game to do what Hugh did, which is he invited 1,000 of his first connections to the event that I posted. And you're allowed on LinkedIn to actually invite 1,000 people per week. They encourage it. It takes about 10 minutes because you got to click a lot of boxes to get up to, 1,000. But if anybody would like to volunteer and, spread the word among their own first connections of future events, I'll make you a co-sponsor and you can speak for a minute or two and be heroes to the rest of us, because you might have connections that should be here as well. You can let me know by, emailing me at venture1starters.com. venture1starters at gmail.com, or go to the website, which is venturestarters.com, and you can reach out to me there. Okay, let's see. So I would like to first introduce, just if we can, I don't know, Scott, is Scott Livingston still on? Can you unmute if you're on? And Scott, maybe
I'm here.
Okay, so I know it's late for you in New York, but I'd like to introduce Scott. Scott owns there you go, beautiful. Scott owns a securities company in New York City, and he has helped so many startups raise money, and he's an expert, especially in nanotechnologies, and his network is golden. And I'm so thrilled just to have Scott here on our, first event. But I'll let you, Scott, tell a little bit more about your background and stories. Well, we don't have time for stories tonight, but a little bit.
No. We'll do 45 seconds. How's that? 45. Perfect. Everyone gets 45 seconds. Perfect. So I'm a 33-year Wall Street veteran. I got a lot of stories about the 90s and the dot-com boom. I've been around the block for a long time. I met Mark, I don't know, a year and a half ago through a referral from a very, to me, a very important friend. And he's like a spirit animal of mine. Livingston Securities is dedicated to three goals: financing the nanotechnology revolution in all its forms, changing the way innovation is financed on Wall Street, and connecting you with your local innovation economy. And we are very well known amongst folks like Mark, because one of the things that we've been focusing on for a long time is connecting the connectors. And so I can tell you right now that when Mark is preaching here, I'm in the back, saying hallelujah. So I'm just so happy to be a part of the group, and, looking forward to hearing your stories and following up and everything. And one thing I got to realize is I better be in that first 99. Or you gotta upgrade that Zoom membership or something.
I will. I paid maximum. I don't
get you on TV.
I know.
All right. Anyways, so LivingstonSecurities.com. Look me up on LinkedIn. Tell me, if you reach out to me, you got to tell me you're a friend of Mark's. Otherwise, I won't know that you're a friend of Mark's. And then what's the point, right? Mark, the floor is yours.
All right. Thanks, Scott. I appreciate you chiming in and being here tonight, because you're so impressive. Great. And everybody's going to want to get to know you over time for sure. Let me admit a couple more people in. They kind of coming in, going tonight. All right, so another gentleman who's an investor that I'm really impressed with. He joined me for the last event. I don't know, Matthew Basirico, are you here?
They did not know the dollars was going to happen.
Oh, you're
Matthew Basirico.
There we go. Thank you. Perfect. So Matthew, share a little bit about what you're doing and your background. I'm so impressed with you.
Thank you. No, I appreciate it. So I'm calling from here in Menlo Park, California. I work in Palo Alto. It's kind of like the heart of Silicon Valley. So innovation and ideas and VC and angel and all that good stuff. Funny thing is, I don't work for any of that. I actually have my own holding company, and I'm the chief investment officer of the holding company. And my CEO, my COO, my CFO, they're all just looking towards me to make investments in all the money that we're currently liquid for. So we're liquid for approximately up to 300, 400 million going forward, especially this quarter. So I'm looking at fund of funds, I'm looking at VCs, I'm looking at projects, I'm looking at standalones, but it's gotta be beyond the angel stage. So it can't be seed money, can't be friends and family money. I want to make sure that that's clear. Okay, so when it comes to so okay, so rewrite checks starting 6 figures, 7 figures, 8 figures. It's a beautiful thing. Best to reach me via email, or you can get me on LinkedIn, which I posted my LinkedIn a couple times. You can always connect with me yourself and make it nice and easy. And I look forward to chatting with many of you. I'm excited for this event. The event's coming forward. I really like Mark and his network. I can't say anything more, amazing about Mark. He's a go-getter, and he's got a really great network. So I'm really impressed. And I look forward to speaking with many of you about what you're doing and how I can help. So connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm going to post that right now.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And, everybody reach out if you think that there's something there for you. And again, you might see Matthew again in future events. I'm hoping he'll be a regular.
Yes.
It would be nice. And Scott, the same for you. I would love it if you, I know you're a busy guy, but and for the rest of you, it'd be great if you guys can start to make this a regular thing. All right. So there's so many, startups that I had actually invited to pitch do an elevator pitch tonight. And a lot of them did not get in on that the first 100 registrations. And that's unfortunate, but I do have at least maybe a dozen that I'm aware of that I think are here. And we're going to just get started. And if for some reason I don't remember that you should be on tonight, or I missed that you made it into the event tonight, or if you'd like I see Alejandro from Puerto Rico, a friend of mine, if I know has a project and I wasn't aware you were going to be here tonight and you want to pitch yours, after we get through this initial list, if any of you would like to also be involved, then we, absolutely want to have and hear from all of you. Again, tonight is just to get a flavor of everybody. You're not going to sell us to the point where we're writing you checks. Just sort of give us a flavor of who you are, what your project is. Maybe somebody will have some questions. If we have some time, we might add in a few questions, but please tonight, let's be nice to everybody. No gotcha questions, just nice questions, or, soft suggestions. If you have any. I just want everybody to feel comfortable about this process. We'll get into hard business later. It's just not going to happen it's like the first night of meeting somebody. You're not going to end up in bed the first night usually. So let's work our way up to this and do it properly. So the first person I'd like to introduce, actually, I just met her in the last few days. Shatil Dond, are you here tonight? I thought I saw you come through.
Hey, Mark. Yes, I'm here.
Oh, beautiful. Okay, so Shatil has a great project that's out of Switzerland and does involve a number of Asian countries, but it's on food safety, and I was really intrigued by it. I'd love her to share a little bit about herself and her project. Go ahead.
Hey, all. Good evening. My name is Sheetal Dand, and I'm from Bangalore, India. And I'm the co-founder of a social impact initiative called as Transparent Food, from the makers of Star Farm, who brought a revolution in the agri-food segment in China under the brand name Star Farms. So what we are trying to do, I'm very quick. What we are trying to do is we are building the world's largest agri-food marketplace, which would connect suppliers to more than 35,000 global retailers, supplying assured quality and safe food with a story behind the product, and with complete transparency and sustainability. As of today, with our past experience, we have more than 800 suppliers in China with a food basket volume of 8 billion. And in Pakistan, we've also worked, I have more than 1,200 suppliers with a food basket volume of 3.5 billion. And simultaneously, we would also start with India in the first year of operations. And that's how I boldly say, when we open up this marketplace, we would have more than 10 billion of agri-food produce. with a good number of global suppliers. And we are looking for a lead investor to support us. I'm more than happy to connect with each of you and give more details about our project, our team, and our operational strategy. Thank you.
That was perfect. Okay, so, if anybody's interested, and Shatil, if you could put your information into the chat, just in case he wants to connect with you, fantastic. Okay.
I'm doing.
Perfect. I'm sorry, I muted you. I'm just trying to keep the room as quiet as can be. All right, the next person I have up, and I apologize if I'm butchering names tonight. I've never been very great with names, so I would just in advance, I just want you to know it's not intentional. Ishan Sharma, Deep Sync Technologies. Are you here tonight? You'll have to unmute if you are. I thought I saw you on the list for tonight. May not have made it in. I don't see. Okay, we'll move on and maybe we'll circle back if Ishan arrives. So, okay, John's been trying to get in a number of ways. John Carreria, it's a COVID solution. John, are you here?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, perfect. Oh, there you are. Great. All right, John.
A couple had wanted to use that link that my Zoom link, so you might see a couple people showing up as John Carreri. There's
yeah, basically I tried to change it. I had problems with my Zoom link, and I used his John's link, and I don't know if you can see my real name or it's John's.
Yeah, either way, that I was just making a point. You might see multiple Johns, and that's why. So, okay, so my name is John Carreri. Hopefully everyone can see me. I'm a technologist for the last 30 years. I founded Jobs.com, acquired by Monster. I created Jokes.com, acquired by Viacom. My current company is Energy Cloud. We're a clean tech company focused on making buildings healthy, efficient, and sustainable. Our signature product is Hummingbird with Air Vaccine. So our system immediately deactivates COVID-19 in the air, including any variants. All of our testing was done at USC's Keck School of Medicine and with a team of 10 independent epidemiologists and engineers. So we have very solid data and efficacy results. We actually won an Edison Award for our efficacy as well on our system. And it also, way beyond the pandemic, gets rid of other pollutants and things in our environment. So there's a much bigger, broader play here of improving indoor air quality in commercial buildings. And we're really solving the problem that commercial buildings, a multi-trillion-dollar asset class, has, which is they're not going to get anybody to renew their leases if everyone doesn't go back to work. And employers are having a hard time getting employees back to work because they don't believe the environments are safe. So it's a scalable solution. It's basically bringing lab and clean room level of technology and making it affordable enough for all commercial buildings. And it's scalable for all types of commercial buildings as well. We're doing a Series A round of 8 million right now. We have at least one good-sized investor interested in investing it, but looking for the lead. And our use of funds will mostly be to scale it in marketing and sales. And please look to network with me later on. I did post my information on the chat for connecting with me over LinkedIn. I look forward to talking to you. Thank you.
That's great. So you've already developed the technology. There's no technology risk. Is that correct? It's all scaling that you need for the money?
That's correct. We already have it, including a next generation of technology. All of our product is 95% is being manufactured in the United States as well.
Neat. And just out of curiosity, so you have test results, and how did you get test results for something like this?
We had to actually invent a new system to actually test in real airflows, which was one of the things we won an Edison Award for. Now we can test even competitive products in bioaerosols. Before that, people could not test. Everything was done in a little biocontainment cabinet, which was not real life. We actually tested with real life airflows, which was the major difference. So we had to build that system to actually be able to do that.
Is there an application on airplanes?
There's multiple applications. Ours goes way beyond HEPA filters, and we don't have time to discuss it today, but airplanes have a whole different problem if you've ever smelled the fumes that come in when you're on a tarmac. So our system beyond COVID actually breaks down those type of VOCs, ozone, carbon monoxide, smoke. It breaks all those gases down into harmless water vapor and CO2. So lots of application.
Okay, neat. I'm interested. Well, you and I will have a conversation later about that. Thank you.
Sounds like that.
Okay, I'm gonna, let's see if I can get you on mute. You're there. Perfect. Okay. Next up is Jolene DeMeyer. I apologize, Jolene. Are you here? With jello.com. I guess not. Okay. Well, I can tell that Asmara Hagos is here because I see her. So that is a good sign that she is with Smart Buyer Persona. And if you unmute, we would love to hear from you.
Okay, thank you. Hello, everyone. Thanks for the introduction, Mark. Yeah, I'm with Smart Buyer Persona. I'm the founder. And if I were to describe it, it's like Google search, but for marketing personas. And so it's a live buyer persona engine that helps reduce wasted time and money on marketing campaigns while helping to boost sales. So what it does is produces buyer personas that give detailed information about various target markets, like their personality, shopping behaviors, pain points, and frustrations. And it will also help businesses explore other markets that they can tap into. And so with that, according to the buyer persona generated, Smart Buyer Persona will also yield relevant marketing strategy instantly. And so lastly, there is a dashboard that will measure online activity like web traffic and social media clicks with sales to give you a direct measure of ROI. And so overall, Smart Buyer Persona is poised to help businesses break thresholds into greater profit margins and help marketers win their time back with automated processes to increase efficiency. And so to date, we have 2 small businesses and 1 mid-market business that are signed up to beta test, and we have 1 reseller with a network of close to 20,000 businesses that is interested in bundling this technology with their offerings. And so we are looking for investors that are wanting to talk more about potentially joining this project and helping to scale it.
Hey, Samara, that sounds really good. Keith here, I'm an investor also. Are you using intent data and monetizing this as a percentage of sales, or are you just creating custom profiles for your B2B clients?
Yeah, so they are not custom profiles. So we will take information from their current customer base, but also this is going to be new information, data for us taken from different sources over the internet and kind of created to give them information that they don't already have about leads that maybe have not heard of their product at all, maybe they have not visited their website or their social media pages. And so does that answer your question?
It's a part, and I don't want to take too much time, but I like to see what you're doing. I kind of work in this space quite often.
Awesome. Well, I will send you my email and here in this chat.
That's cool.
Okay, thank you.
Perfect example of what I'm trying to accomplish here. And thank you, Keith, for actually asking a question. And I'm all good with people asking questions. Just ask nice questions. That's all I ask. I want this to be a friendly group. Okay, let's see who is next on my list. Michael Nayan, I'm sure I completely butchered that. Tier Money, are you here? Thought I saw you come in earlier.
Yes, I am.
That's what I thought. You're here somewhere. Okay, great. Floor is yours. Let's hear about it.
Just a moment. So I'm in the UK, so it's a little bit very early in the morning. Yeah, good day, everyone. So my name is Michael Yonayo. I'm the founder of Tiamani. It's a new neobank in the UK, and we are focused. A new bank is an intersection between a spend management and a digital bank. So basically, we give businesses the opportunity to have a digital banking app, digital banking services, and spend management all from the same application. So you can do all your digital banking services, your spend management services, your FX services, and your global payout services, all from one application.
Okay, and are you looking for money? Is there anything in particular you want to share in terms of what your challenge is to get going?
Yeah, so we're launching in the UK this week. We've started beta since March this year. We've processed over $4 million in terms of FX, and we're licensed in the UK. We're also licensed in Canada. We have partnerships we have a partner bank in New York, and also a partner bank in the EU. So we're looking to raise $1 million from investors. So we're currently fundraising. Actually having our first pitch tomorrow.
So Michael, if you can put your name into the chat, that would be great, and keep coming back, and we'd like to hear the progress of your launch. It sounds always great when I hear launch is imminent. That's a very good sign. So thank you, Michael.
Thank you very much.
If you could go on mute, that would be appreciated. So I can move to the next one, which is Tiffany Walling. Tiffany, are you here?
I am. Hello, Mark. Thank you for on. Hello, everyone. All right, so I'll just kind of get going here. I do have a bit of a pitch. It's 2-minute pitch, but I am Tiffany, and I'm the CEO and founder, one of 3 founders of Metapixel. And I call the internet the world's largest copy machine because out of the 3 billion images alone that are shared every day, 2.5 billion of those are taken or misused or altered, leading to loss of authorship and potential revenue for businesses and creators. As a photographer myself, I've experienced this firsthand, and of course that's when I realized that this is an important problem to solve. So Metapixel is a B2B, B2C based SaaS company, and we're providing solutions to address vulnerabilities associated with protecting, authenticating, tracking, and licensing all forms of digital media by encrypting digital assets with a secure proof of ownership by proactively locking in that metadata, surviving everything from screenshots to stripping algorithms. Digital works can then be managed for distribution, monetization, and license agreements with customizable attached smart contracts, along with registration on the blockchain. And given that there are 1.3 trillion unauthorized image uses per year, that's a huge market. And we have a few competitors, but we're being first to market with a fully proactive end-to-end technology. And I have key customer relationships, and that affords us the ability to capture a meaningful part of this market. We are in development of our core technology. And of course, I have broad reach with my peers and colleagues looking for this solution. We also have interest from large channel partners for their brand protection, archiving, and new legislation around copyright holders. My second co-founder and I are the end users of this technology. We have 20+ years in New York as a professional photographers and artists. And our third founder is Jennifer, who's a sales and marketing leader for over 25 years, and she's out of San Francisco. Our CTO, Neelan, is a globally recognized cyber forensic and cybersecurity data hiding developer. And Metapixel is the right team, and we have the right idea, and we have the ability to execute on this vision. And then, of course, if you're interested, please contact me to participate in our current round and our journey. Thank you.
And what is your current round?
We are raising 1.5 as a pre-seed. We're looking to do that under a safe. We've raised 75 from friends, family, and founders thus far.
Okay, it sounds great, actually. But I am worried about your competitors and whether you're going to be able to differentiate yourself enough.
Sure.
And Tiffany, keep here again. Mark's right. I think the market is hot where you're playing, and you did a wonderful job with the story. I'd go a bit deeper in terms of traction. You hear that from everybody. I want to have a really clear picture of exactly where you fit in the broader marketplace, right? And traction, you mentioned a few touch points, but give me an example of some of your early market wins and what their reaction was to it. I know you only had 2 minutes, but I'm sharing the thought, and I'm kind of sharing it on on a broad basis for anyone else in the room that wants to pitch for investment, we want to hear about the idea, of course, but really what kind of response is it getting? Is it starting to build beyond the network of friends and family, both on the fundraising side and on the revenue side? Is it starting to get that little viral lift that we all want to see from linear to nonlinear kind of growth?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. I mean, we have a letter of interest from Getty Images at this point, and we've spoken quite a bit with the team over at Parkwood Entertainment around their, protecting their assets. We fit nicely in with the NFTs to actually then be able to really create digital scarcity around that. We've spoken to a number of those people to fit our technology in to actually complete that solution and really make that a viable solution.
You're getting close to that mic drop moment.
I know, right? I'm getting there. We're also, of course, involved in a number of accelerators at this point, and we're making it happen. So I'm happy to talk to you more after this event too.
Awesome.
I'll share my info. Thank you so much.
Great. Anybody else have a question? Okay, Keith, you're great. Thank you. Keep on asking your fantastic questions. Love that. All right, let's go to next on my list is Connie S-H-I-H. She. Okay, thank you for saving me from myself.
Cool. Thank you. All right. My name is Connie Shi, and I'm the founder and CEO of Horology. We make the most comfortable, effective, and sustainable period product in the world. I think we can all agree from experience, or maybe observational experience, judging by this room, that menstruation can be difficult, but I don't think that that is the problem in and of itself, because it's just a biological fact. What I do believe is the problem is twofold. One, the way in which the world views periods or period stigma, and two, the widespread use of plastic disposable menstrual products. The issue with that is that it's inconvenient, it's not eco-friendly, and the products themselves are not actually comfortable. Horology has created a reusable period product unlike anything else on the market. Our easy-to-wash period panty is comprised of multiple layers of thin fabrics designed to wick and absorb fluid, leaving the customer feeling fresh and dry all day. Our products are more comfortable, absorbent, and more eco-friendly than our competitors due to our unique blend of specialty fabrics, our unique fit, as well as our hero fabric, a beechwood-based modal, 10 times softer and more comfortable than even cotton. This fabric is so cool because not only was it sustainably derived, it's also completely biodegradable. I created this product after trying dozens of sustainable menstrual care brands on the market, but realizing that none of them were actually comfortable or even sustainable. They felt like I was wearing like a tight-fitting plastic swimsuit, and no one wants to do that when you're already experiencing physical symptoms that week. Since our launch, without external funding or investing in paid advertising just yet, we've garnered a large social media following, viral actually, loyal customer base, as well as a seat at one of the top consumer goods accelerators in the world called SKU. We're raising $500,000 in our pre-seed round today in order to expand these marketing and awareness campaigns to broaden our audience, both online via e-commerce and offline in brick and mortar retail. Thank you.
Awesome. I don't know who else is interested, but I'd like to learn more about that. I like that you have some traction. I worry though about the economics. How are you going to compare to the amazing amount of competition you have, including all the organic brands?
Yeah, I think this category growth rate is different. There's like menstrual care in general, and then there's like reusable menstrual care, and then you divide that out into different segments like menstrual cups and period panties. Our category growth rate is much higher than all of those, and I think there's a lot of potential because our competitors are VC backed and they've spent a lot of money in early awareness ads. But I think now is the best time for us to swoop in with a superior product.
What's your brand name for this product?
Horology, H-E-R-A, like the Queen of Gods.
Connie,
Okay.
you're ready for Shark Tank. That was a great pitch.
Thank you.
Hey, how much you looking to give up for your 500K?
I was thinking of a safe, willing to
Right.
do a discount, willing to negotiate a cap as well.
Yeah, I hear people doing the kind of growth plan you're thinking about. 500K can be a nice amount of money for you, but you might have to give up too much equity, and that could hurt future rounds. So I would round up to $1 million personally, and I'm not.
I agree.
Or I would say just look at that. I don't know enough, but thought.
All right, very nice. Connie, please put your name into the chat just in case somebody else is interested, but I'd like to circle back with you at some point. It sounds like a really good business, and it's going to come down to marketing, in many respects, and but very interesting. Okay, so next up, I did see Stephen Campbell here earlier. Stephen, are you here to talk about your energy project up in Canada?
I am, Mark. Thank you very
Perfect.
much.
There we go. Floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Well, Mark, my name is Stephen Campbell. I'm the Chief Technology Officer of Canagas Incorporated. What do? We've developed a new way to liquefy and transport natural gas that costs a lot less than LNG or compressed natural gas. It's not a pipeline. Our intention is to purchase stranded market gas and deliver that to high-value markets such as Europe and Asia. We also use our system at lower pressures to also transport propane, ethylene, ammonia, and other gaseous fluids. Like I said, our target markets are Europe because of the situation ongoing. Our composite pressure vessel fits inside of an intermodal container. We have 3 of our tanks that are large volume, lightweight. They're low temperature compatible, which is the trick to being able to liquefy natural gas. We've taken this aerospace technology and we now make the biggest Type 4 tanks outside of Nassau. It's a filament winding process. It has a seamless high density polyethylene liner and wrapped with carbon fiber. The pressurized liquefied natural gas process is only a 100-year-old technology. It's nothing new to use a combination of temperature and pressure to be able to liquefy gas this way. No stripping of the gas is required, and therefore our OPEX costs are 75% reduced from conventional LNG, and CapEx costs are slashed by 90%. And these figures are verified by third-party engineering. The competitive advantages over LNG are significant: lower CapEx, lower short lead times. It's universally regulatory underneath DNV, and therefore Det-Nors Veritas for shipping. And therefore, it's not susceptible to regulatory interference by provincial or federal governments. The energy crisis ongoing right now has created an unbelievable exploitive opportunity to use this type of technology to transport gas from North Africa, West Africa, eastern coast of Newfoundland to Europe, and also from Western Canada to Asia. The 4 principal founders of Canagas, we collectively have 150 years of experience in this. We're not coming out of the gate fresh. And our ask is $250,000 to conduct proof of design of our beta pressure vessel. We've already tested large tanks for CNG, but it's the low temperature compatibility that allows us to do pressurized liquefied natural gas. This 250 will allow us to burst test and cyclic fatigue too, which will be the proof of design. And then we'll be looking for a Series A of $3 million to actually complete certification testing and then start production. We expect in 48 months to have a net revenue of $2.9 billion US per month. And that's an accumulated net revenue of $44 billion in that 48 period of time. And a net depreciated, non-depreciated assets of about 5.9 billion. This is a pretty unbelievable situation. So we encourage anyone that's interested in this technology to be able to contact us, and we would definitely be forthright to send the financial forecast and the backup information for that. And that's all I have. Thank you very much.
Stephen, I'm just curious. So where are you actually getting the natural gas from? I might have missed that in your pitch.
Oh, you can attain, well, we're looking at the first one for us is Algeria to Spain, France, and Italy, because Algeria is the 3rd largest holder of natural gas in the world at the moment, and the 3rd largest flarer of natural gas. And this technology will make it very easy to capture flare gas and be able to monetize that instead of releasing it to the atmosphere. So that's one location. Eastern Canada from Montreal is another one at the end of the Trans-Canada pipeline, and be able to take gas out of the Montreal area and bring it to Germany. We were connected with Wintershall DEA to be the offtake of that gas in Germany. And the interesting thing is those figures I used, that's at $38 per million BTU of gas. Currently in Europe, it's $58. This has been a crisis situation that has provided an unbelievable opportunity for us.
Okay, very interesting. Well, I've already sent your deck that you sent to me to a friend of mine who is a big to-do in the oil and gas industry, and he did express interest in potentially following up. And he is an investor on 2 companies and sits on one of the boards with me. So I will introduce, his name is Jeff, to you, and we'll at least get that call going. I'm not sure he's the right guy, but it was my first idea. Does anybody else have any questions directly of Stephen? Maybe not an energy audience. Okay.
No, I find that a lot, especially in deep tech. There's not usually, it's flat-lined until you do proof of design, and then it's an upward vertical. So thank you, Mark, for the opportunity. Appreciate it.
My pleasure. Few people know that I actually own a portion of a hydropower project that I started in Honduras once, many years ago. We actually raised the $10 million+ to build it. And that was, you know, that was all about networking. So even in the riskiest countries in the world, it's possible to raise money if you know the right people or you bring onto your team the right people. And that's basically what I do. It's like I'm not a genius, but I keep getting successes from just attracting the right people. And that's what I want for all of you. Okay, next up is Amir Nardaman for Seamless Vision. Are you here, Amir? You'll have to unmute if you're here. I thought I saw you in the room earlier. I don't know if I see you now. We've had people with connection problems that seem to be coming and fading in and out. Okay, I'm going to assume he didn't make it or is trying to reconnect soon. Next up is Christopher Ray, Soul Company. Christopher, I see you in the room. Yay, there we go. Floor is yours.
All right. Well, great to meet you. And thanks, Mark. I'm really glad to be here. It's a great opportunity. Thank you for putting this together. When I was 12, my parents started a wholesale plant nursery. I found out firsthand some of the issues wholesale nurseries have as they built from scratch a multi-million-dollar wholesale farm. Eventually, I worked up the ranks after I graduated high school and became a farm manager before marrying my beautiful wife in Mexico. Due to some immigration issues we had on our re-entry to the United States, we had to stay in Mexico. So I formed a web design and marketing agency, then taught myself how to code on the side. And recently, we formed a new software company, Ewia. Our goal is to make work better by building high quality software products that save people time, like me as a wholesale plant nursery manager. Our first customer is my family's farm. Some of the problems I faced while being a manager, I'm finally starting to solve in a program called Ewia for Nurseries. And I'd love it if you could reach out to us if you're interested in partnering with us via email at chris@ewia.co. Right now, we're in the pre-seed seed stage, and we're not really sure how to do this investment capital thing. We're really new to that, so love any insight there as well.
Okay, great. I mean, there's a lot of interest in ag tech right now. So I'm not sure if anybody is in the room that's actually an ag tech person, but just want you to be aware. Oh, good, Scott. Well, maybe Scott would be the best mentor for you, Christopher. So maybe you should hook up with Scott Livingston. Okay, I've actually ran out of people on a list that I have that I thought were going to be here. A bunch of people thought they were going to be pitching tonight that couldn't get in the door, and I'll have to try and resolve that. But for the next hour, if we even want to stay together for that long, I welcome anybody who would like to just tell us a little bit about who you are and why you might be here. And, the floor is really open, because at the best way to create this community is if everybody will spend a minute or two just describing who they are. I think actually the first person I'd like to bring on is Luke, who's actually, it says John's name for Luke, but Luke has been helping me put these events together. And Luke is also the Chief Marketing Officer of Startup Bright. And some of you might want to actually join and pitch, and any investors that would like to step in and join me on the investor panel, we could use a couple more people, especially during vacation season, over the next couple of events. And Luke, why don't you, tell us a little bit about yourself and how people can reach out to you directly.
First, hello, Mark, and thank you very much for the nice introduction. Well, basically, I work with Startup Bright and also with Venture Starters recently. With Startup Bright, I have been for about 2 years, and we have been doing like startup pitch events two times per month. And we really Mark is a regular panelist on our events. And if anybody of the startups that are here would like to pitch, they feel free to connect with me. I will share my LinkedIn here in the chat, and we'll continue our conversation after this. Basically, what Startup Bright does is we are trying to be an intermediary between startups and investors, and we are organizing those pitch events where startups have like 5 minutes to pitch, and they have after that 5 minutes questions and answers. And we are trying to bring very high quality investors on each event. So if you're interested to pitch on our events, feel free to reach out to me. I will put my my LinkedIn link here, and we'll chat after our event. So thank you very much, Mark.
Thank you, Luke. Luke is amazingly talented, and you guys should all just connect with him just so that you have him as one of your first connections. I would highly recommend. He's doing all of the marketing and social media for me right now. And the reason why Venture Starters has over 1,000 followers literally in the blink of an eye is because Luke really knew how to help me manifest that event. And I give him an enormous amount of credit. And thank you again, Luke. There's so many neat people here that I would love to get to know. And I see, a video of many of you. I'm not sure how to ask you directly. I don't know if I want to put anybody, on the spot, but is there any volunteer that would like to, unmute? There you go. I see Michael. I know there's something called reactions that if you want.
Hey, Mark, check your chat, because there's a bunch of people saying they want to talk on the chat, and you could just go down the list.
Okay, I'm sorry.
That's probably the best way. You got like 5 or 10 people saying me too. Just roll with that.
Okay, well, that's a good point.
I love this stuff, by the way.
Let's start with Michael Wagoner, because he basically made himself very visible to me. Go ahead, Michael. Nice to meet you. You're still on mute. Here, I might be able to unmute you.
Yeah, let me.
Okay, got it. Okay, you're good now.
Cool, thanks. Yeah, so I'm Mike Wagner. I'm the founder of Cormac, and we make lightweight, high-performance food packaging and food service items like this from food waste. So it's carbon negative, compostable, and because of a patented lightweight structure, it's actually cost competitive with solid plastic, unlike other bio-based solutions. And so we've raised about 5 million in grants so far, 2.1 on an earlier angel round, and now are approved for a USDA loan guarantee for scaling. And so we're seeking a $5 million note and help from people who have scaled biorefineries and also consumer-facing brands. So, thanks.
Very, very nice. That's interesting. Did you send me a deck yet? Do I have any information on you?
No.
Okay, I'd actually like to learn more. I might have somebody in mind that may be interested. Excuse me, that at least you should talk to. So, venture1starters@gmail.com if you can. Then I'll just forward it on. I see, let's see, Shireen Escott. I'm sorry with your name.
Yes.
Perfect.
Hi. Hi, everyone. How are you? Can you hear me, see me? That's okay. Awesome. So hi, I'm Shireen. I live in Bali and my company is based in Singapore. I am in the education space. I help teachers who are underrepresented minorities from around the world get jobs. So I'm a teacher myself, and before I was a teacher, I had my own business in corporate. I had my own business in small business, and I also worked in corporate. And now I'm in the process of building a blockchain solution to bring teachers from around the world to the USA, because we're currently experiencing a global teacher crisis, and the highest amount of those teachers are needed in the USA. So I've already closed an angel investment round of 100K, which was in December last year. And we're currently raising a pre-seed round at the moment. And yeah, really excited to meet all of you here. If anybody's in the education space or has any connections with schools in the USA, please do reach out. I'd love to have a chat with you further. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure.
Nice. I don't know if you sent me anything or not. You may have. I apologize if you did, but I do have somebody in Florida who is very involved in the education field and has invested in some technologies before. I have no idea whether this would interest him, but I'd be happy to pass it along. So
that'd be awesome.
Thank you so much for joining us. If you could just put your information in the chat in case, that would be great. I see Sarah, and I'm not even going to attempt your last name, Sarah, but starts with an F. And please, you're up next.
Hi, everyone. My name is Sara. I'm from Croatia, and I'm a co-founder of Be Humane. Our startup is solving a problem of a technostress. I don't know how many of you have heard of it, but it's a modern disease of inability to cope with technology in a healthy manner. So every one of us is a bit guilty of it, but it has the biggest impact on children and youth. And we are seeing that teens that are using devices 5+ hours daily are 66% more likely to have at least one suicide-related outcome. This is also related to anxiety, depression, addiction, and loneliness. So based on my master's thesis results, I started Be Humane, and Be Humane is a mixed reality learning platform that enables students to develop soft skills and healthy technology habits. So we are enabling students to develop skills in both virtual and real world. And so far we have conducted testing in Croatia with 45 students and are now doing ongoing testing of our metaverse game with students from United States and Europe. And we also have a letter of intent from a private school, and we're looking to gather more and currently talking with the Spanish government. So we've gained some interest also from the NGO in Responsible Tech movement, and we are soon to be open our seed round. So for any investors interested in helping this mission to equip children with soft skills in both virtual and real world, please reach out. Thank you so much.
Great. Thank you, Sarah. Does anybody have any questions? Okay, so I've got Preston Harris up next. Preston, you ready?
I'm ready to go. All right, so it's awesome just hearing about everybody's business. My name is Preston Harris. I'm based in Atlanta, Georgia. What I have to pitch for you is two different things. Number one, the first thing is a platform that allows you to sell your tickets and to put your products and services on there, and it can be shared globally. You think about Shopify, you think about Amazon, you think about Eventbrite, and you think about Ticketmaster. Well, those are fused together with our platform called VIP Socio. We have about 600,000 users users right now globally, and we're getting ready to go to our Series A in September. So we'd love for you to check out our platform. It's free for people to post their events on there and also post their products in our marketplace. Now, the second thing that I have to pitch to you is a vehicle for all of your businesses to go reach the masses. I'm working on a film right now called Esau the Master Builder. It's a film, it's a faith-based film just about finding your purpose and being able to share that with everyone. And so I have my distribution set up through XOD Network. I can reach 2.7 billion people across the world. Right now, I'm going through my process with SAG. And so I am in need of a funding letter so I can make sure that my process is completely good with SAG. And so I can get all my actors paid and everything like that. So I would love to be able to help you all promote your businesses and promote the things that you're doing through being a part of the movie, whether that be as a sponsor, whether that be hosting a premiere, or just watching it and sharing it with your friends. So I'd love to be a resource with you. Mark, thanks for this, because this is really, really cool to be able to connect with people all over the world and just hear about the great businesses that are going on. Really, really honored to be here, and thanks guys for what you're doing.
Okay, Preston, I'm just curious about the 600,000, people that are already in that, where are they mostly located?
They're mostly in the US, but we do have a good foothold in Ghana and Kenya and on the African continent. We also have a good foothold. We're starting to build in India, and we could use a lot more in Europe as well.
Okay, and I mean, is there a profit model there? And are you seeing, is there any revenues yet from your 600,000 traction?
Yeah. Yes, sir. We have, we did about 1 million last year. We're looking to get to 10 this year before our valuation. And so I'm a partner, and so I'm part of the outreach team. And so I go and pitch our company to different businesses and show different groups how to use it. And as they use it, the more people who use it, the more people who love it, because unlike Eventbrite or some of those other platforms, as soon as you sell something, you get your money right away. And we're very transparent. So we have a fee calculator on there, and our fees are some of the lowest in the industry.
Are you in profit yet, or out of that 1 million, you're still, negative?
I would have to ask the rest of my team, but I feel like we're still getting out of it. We put a lot of money into it to build the platform and to support it, but I would have to ask the rest of our team to get you the best answer on that question.
Okay, so if you send me your deck, I do know a VC fund that still has money and is actually still looking at things, and they're really looking for companies that at least can achieve $1 million in revenue before they'll get interested. And it sounds like you might check that box off. And, I'd be happy just to introduce you to this individual. He actually attended and sat on the investment panel of the Startup Right group about a month ago, and he's very impressive. So happy to do that. With regard to the movie, I don't know, you may or may not know my background, but I was heavily involved in the movie industry. And, a lot of the money that I'm deploying came from things like my work in Jurassic Park and,
Awesome.
Star Trek movies, etc. So I just, it's hard to find investors in that space. It's a really, really, really difficult environment. And, I would put, like, if you were prioritizing your time, definitely spend more time on the first startup. And if you're lucky to find the money for a movie project or an entertainment project, then fantastic. But it is a really tough, it's just tough to find those investors in this market at the moment. I'm being completely honest. I wish I could tell you it was easy, but it's not easy.
I understand that 100%. The great thing about it is we have our distribution, and we have a great distribution deal. So if we get 1 million people to watch this movie, we'll make $8.8 million. So
a great distribution deal might involve the distributor putting up some money. And if they have no skin in the game, then I would worry about whether they'll reach the numbers that they tell you about. But you and I can have that conversation offline. I'd be interested at least introducing you to the VC firm that's in the Silicon Valley area that's looking for startups that have at least $1 million in revenue. That's sort of the key of what they're, and you might fit the bill. So anyways, thank you very much, Preston. Appreciate you very much. Let's move on to, let's see, who's the hand I see next? Hold on, it's Thomas Nolan. Thomas, are you now available to unmute and share a little bit about you?
Sure, I'd be happy to.
Thank you.
So I'm Thomas Nolan. I'm based in Los Angeles. I'm one of the co-founders of FUD, and we are an app community for solopreneurs and people with a side hustle. We're a three-sided marketplace. So we help people find, learn, and execute on their side hustles. So all of our content creators are vetted. So they're actual practitioners of the information that they're sharing. So we have courses, we have different ways for people to learn new things so that they can take action and then ultimately put money in their pocket. We've raised $1 million last year in a pre-seed. We have some notable investors. The CEO of Yahoo is an investor. One of the co-founders of Agora is also an investor. And it's well known that they built the back end of Clubhouse. I dropped an app download in the chat earlier if you guys want to check out our app. We've built our community in social over 30,000 so far, and we're migrating them into the app. We have 75 active content creators who are doing daily live streams and daily uploads. And then we also have 150 affiliate deals, which are layered into our app as well. And creators can choose those and anchor them into their videos, as well as the live streams. And that's a way that they sort of earn revenue as well, in addition to tipping, which we also have live. The sort of deals we have are very specific. So think Canva, Instacart, DoorDash, Fiverr, Shopify, etc. So basically, we act as a discovery engine for users to learn about new ways and new platforms so that they can apply that towards them making money. We're currently raising a seed round of $3 million, and would love to chat with anyone who is interested in the future of work or the creator economy.
Okay, outstanding. Does anybody have any questions? I'm in Los Angeles. Thomas, you and I should have coffee sometime. It sounds like you guys, it sounds like you're onto something there. I'd like to learn more. Make sure I see a deck at some point.
Tell me about the team. I'd love to know more about the team.
Sure. So there's two co-founders. It's me and it's my co-founder Arthur. So like I said, I worked in entertainment. I used to run global sales and content partnerships for Super Deluxe, which was part of Warner Media. Prior to that, I held a global role at Vice Media. My co-founder, he was the chief operating officer at Super Deluxe, which is where we met and became friends. Before that, he ran global audience at CBS Interactive. And then before that, he was involved in the affiliate world and investment banking world. We're also, there's a founder market fit as well because we're both side hustlers. So I'm a reseller in antiques and collectibles, and he's a reseller in sneakers, flipping bricks, and Hypebeast drip. So that was sort of the impetus, like we wanted to combine those two worlds together because there's so many different ways to make money now. And I really believe that the future of work is a lot of people are going to have multiple jobs at the same time.
I agree with that. That is what's happening in a lot of places on the planet. Okay, so thank you, Thomas. Appreciate you doing that. Let's get you on mute. Okay, so all right. So next up on my list here is Daryl. I'm just going by the boxes in front of me, left to right. So I'm not picking one person over another, but Daryl Haberman, you're up next.
Yeah, thank you, Mark. This has been great. It's also great listening to everyone present and pitch their ideas. Plenty of innovative folks out here. I love it. So yeah, thanks for this. I'll be attending more. I'm a co-founder of Recody. Recody. Oh, first of all, I'm based here in New York City, so it's a 10, 15, I'll keep it short. The Recody is a sports tech vehicle. We're currently in the midst of building the MVP, but it will help sports teams turn fans into strategic assets by leveraging scrapbooks or collections of special moments that will allow teams to achieve symbiotic relationships with their fans and drive reliable revenue opportunities and digital relevance for the boatload of content that they share, but also their fans share across all platforms. So it's really building better organic holistic relationships with teams. So think if you're a Yankee or a Met fan, think about capitalizing on a special season, a World Series, a lot of events that happen throughout the year. There's plenty of transplanted fans that are around the world that want to feel like they're part of the action, and they don't just get the message on Twitter or Facebook or TikTok. It is a cesspool. There's the algorithm part of that data, and those stories that are getting told. So this would be more of an invite-only platform where there's more of a like-minded community of fans that really get to know each other, and it becomes a powerful community that gets built where there's many business models, but we've gotten lots of interest from teams across the professional leagues and at the NCAA level. And that's a little bit about my pitch. Happy to get connected on LinkedIn and tell you guys more.
Are you raising money?
Yes, right now we're pre-seed. We're really primarily talking to some accelerator programs and the angel investor networks. But yeah, we're targeting 500,000 to $1 million to really finish off the product and get us moving operationally and put some money into some marketing.
So I recently ran an ad campaign for a sports company that has an app that teaches kids how to, and professional athletes, how to react better, improve their reaction time, basically. And what I ended up doing for them was they had built this beautiful app and they had a lot of interest in it, but they were having trouble raising money. So they were really good at the technology side. So in this particular case, I ran an ad to my network, which is you guys and 10 or 15 million other people that are part of my network. And I essentially got about 400 people to apply within just a few days to be the CEO of the company, with the mission that the only reason they can even come in as an interim CEO was if they could bring in $750,000 with them through personal connections that they already have. So it wasn't about, pitching total strangers. It wasn't about going into accelerator programs. It was basically adding somebody's network, family and friends, to the founding team to essentially open up those doors. What was interesting is we got applicants that were, professional athletes, retired. We got applicants that personally knew key decision makers in many of the sports franchises, of which about a dozen are now signed up to use this app for their own athletes. And, sometimes in sports, like in other industries, it's who you know more than what you know. And even though you and your partners or your team know how to build this thing, one idea for you might be to add somebody to your team specifically for the purpose of fundraising. That's kind of what I ended up doing as a fallback to solving, problems for startups that pitched me. I couldn't invest in them because I don't know their industry, but I like them and I like the business idea. And so for me, finding somebody who was more connected, understood the business better, knew the right investors, that was a shortcut to, getting these guys funded. And I have a feeling, because it's sports, every time I've ever ran an ad that involves something with sports, I usually end up getting 300 to 500 people to apply literally within a day or two. I mean, it's like instantaneous. So Daryl, if you'd like to talk to me more about, you know, how I do this, I can either show you how you can try it on your own, or you can, you know, talk to me about hiring. I have 2 employees that all they do is recruit for startups because there's no headhunter fees, and, you know, we're recruiting people with no salaries to join these teams, and it's a specialty. So we actually have people that specialize in that. I'd like to learn a little bit more. So, you know, please reach out to me directly.
Certainly. The email that you shared earlier, is that one like the number one, or
It
is that the
is.
word one? Okay.
It is.
Yes.
The funniest thing happened. I'll try not to bore everybody, but when I bought the domain name Venture Starters, it seemed perfect because we are in fact a group of people who start ventures. We're the innovators, we're the risk takers, we're the dreamers, we're the venture starters. And I was so happy to get that. And Luke was helping me go through all the list of companies that we were considering as brand names. And I bought the domain instantly when I realized I could. Turns out somebody had owned the domain before, and they're sitting on the email rights, which is called the seat. And I'm having Microsoft have to intervene to get those rights so that I can have an email account that's attached to venturestarters.com. So we own the domain, we have a website up, but I'm prevented from actually having our own Venture Starters emails for a little bit more time as Microsoft works through a technical glitch that occurred when I bought the domain. So at the moment, I'm using a Gmail account, venture_starters@gmail.com. That will change in time. I'll start there.
Yeah, I'll send that to you. I'll connect it to these communities that you've established now, the group, and I believe I sent in a LinkedIn request. But I appreciate that, Mark. Very much look forward to telling you more, and I look forward to hearing these other folks speak.
Great. Sports always gets my attention. Thank you.
I have a big history in sports.
Thanks. So one of my favorite people is actually here today. Anupam, I actually recruited to come into one of my companies a while ago. And, you know, he brought us a potential, it's probably a long shot, multi-billionaire, you know, who is considering $125 million investment in my therapeutics company. And I really just, he's a really talented guy going and doing amazing things. So I'm curious what the latest is with you. You and I haven't chatted in a while.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks, Mark. You're too kind. You're too kind. So yeah, so it's great to see you, Mark, and thank you so much. So hi, everybody. So as Mark mentioned, I'm Anupam Bedi. I work as a strategic advisor for a number of different companies. I'm industry agnostic, geography agnostic. My background has been predominantly within the healthcare space, but I also work in tech quite a bit. So prop tech, ad tech, fintech, clean tech, name it, I'm involved in that. So the therapeutics company that Mark mentioned is one of those companies that I'm involved with, and a couple different healthcare companies that I'm actively trying to help raise some funds for in this space, both in the diagnostic space, one specifically for acute kidney disease, and the other also is an early detection cancer system, basically for liver cancer, utilizing AI capabilities and genomics. So both have very strong IP positions, looking to while in the early stages, pre-revenue or very little revenue, but they are looking to raise between $20 and $30 million also in that space, basically to support ongoing efforts in the regulatory activities, their active clinical trials that are also presently underway right now, reimbursement, which is what's effective for insurance, particularly if you live in the US, is also has been achieved actually for at least one of these companies, particularly in the liver space. And we've actually done a soft launch also for the product as well to start getting some early traction and get some feedback. So now the raise basically is to further developments in research and development for other cancer detections in particular. So we're seeking it one for liver cancer, now also moving forward into lung and breast cancer, furthering reimbursement activities, and also to hire our own commercial team for sales and marketing. There's a third party now that's handling that soft launch. They're a great partner. We're just looking to now insource that more and different developments there. So looking forward to connecting with all of you and making further connections. And any way I can help you as well, please let me know. Feel free to reach out. So I'm just getting involved with the community now and looking forward to staying involved and being an active member as well.
Anupam is very valuable. Please reach out to him, especially if you're doing anything in healthcare. And by the way, I've been asked to join the board of directors of a company that claims that they have the cure for cancer. Apparently, a doctor in Kazakhstan over the last 20 years has been curing over 600 adults. So there's like already a human trial thing going on there. And now they're going to reformulate this plant material concoction and try and go through FDA approval here. So I may want to talk to you and introduce you to those guys. You and I should talk in the next few days.
Sounds great.
All right, so thank you. And next up is Khan. Am I pronouncing your first name correctly? K-A-A-N? Probably not. You're gonna have to unmute yourself. We're not hearing you. Or actually, we're just not hearing. I don't know whether, yeah, it looks like you're not muted, but maybe there's a microphone issue on your end. I'll come back to you. So
can you hear me now?
Oh, yes, we can. Perfect. Please, floor is yours.
Great. All right. Thank you, Mark. No game, no fame. We are working on a social media platform that is called Delgado. And Delgado is a platform that fully focuses on the creation of challenges of every kind. Think about the good old times with the Ice Bucket Challenge. Similar like this challenge, you can create any challenge you like on the platform. And the challenges are created by private users for entertaining purposes or by companies for commercial purposes. For example, for doing advertising for themselves or their products. And the concept behind the marketing is actually called marketing by targeting, or at least I define it like that. Why? Because if a company creates a challenge to let the community decide, or to let the community solve this specific problem, the company exactly knows which content or which idea is the best for them. I always like to do the example with a sports company like Nike. So if a company like Nike decides to create a challenge with the title, "We are looking for a new slogan for our new shoes," then they can create this challenge and people can share the ideas. And in the end, the idea with the most rated content is chosen as the winning content. And Nike exactly knows then in that case that this slogan is the best fit for their initial problem. Thank you.
Okay, so this is like focus group studies, but put on steroids, it sounds like. You're sort of like amplifying what I normally used to do, which was hire a focus group company to help us determine which brand name was best. They would literally bring in dozens of people and ask them or survey them. Is that correct, what I'm hearing, or did I misunderstand what you're doing?
It is the good part about having this idea is it's very generic. You can create a challenge for any purpose. I mean, I can also make the example with Tesla. So if Tesla is looking for new prototypes for prototype designs for their cars, then there are so many talented people out there, right, who do that in their free time. So they can share their ideas how a new Tesla car can look like. So then Tesla doesn't have to do any active research because the community is actually providing the solution to Tesla.
This is neat. I actually would like to learn more. It's intriguing to me, especially if we can have the marketplace help decide what's best. I love that on its surface. I don't know any of the details, but if you want to send me any information, please do.
Yes, sure. Thank you.
Does anybody else have any questions on that one? we'll move on then. Thanks. Put your information in the chat, Con. Appreciate it. James, you're up next. James O'Connor.
Right. Hi. Good morning, everybody. Thank you very much for organizing this. It's fantastic. Great to meet everybody. It's 25 to 4 in the morning here in Ireland, in Dublin. It's a little bit early. Our story is that I used to run a creative agency and I wanted to build a business in tech. I want to build a business globally, want to build a business around pets. And so I looked at the whole area, interested in the whole area of pet technology. Our thoughts were our lives are connected. Why can't our pets be too? So we started a version 1 of the product, which is very simply an NFC tag, built up 2,500 subscribers on a recurring revenue, and realized that the real opportunity was in a full GPS and accelerometer and health tracker. So we set about developing this. Before we did that, we spoke to a lot of consumers, a lot of pet owners, and what was coming through from them was their number one concern was missing pets. So a typical consumer is a girl, say, meet Sarah. She's ongoing and fun, loves her Garmin, walks her 2-year-old retriever. At least once a week, her dog Toby will go missing on their walks. And her thoughts were if only Toby had an activity tracker. So we set about how do we address this problem? And our solution is very, very simple. We wanted to build a smart pet wearable and a global community for pets and pet parents to connect in a safe environment using social and smart technology. So how do we go about this? We looked at a number of global institutes, which included Fraunhofer Institute in Germany and Tyndall Institute in Ireland, and started talking to them. And Tyndall grant funded us 70,000 out of the European Commission. So with that, we have commenced building a prototype. We designed a product, and we'll build a prototype in August this month, in about 2 weeks. We're kind of 6 months behind because of the component package, but we've addressed that. Our pet wearable will have inbuilt machine learning. It's future-proof by Institute. It's a SaaS, and will provide real-time. I love the dog there. It'll provide real-time analytics and personalized health insights. As the other gentleman just before me was talking about the importance of the community. The product is in development at the moment. We said we need to address this and make sure we have our community. So we've built an app in Android, and that'll be launched in the next couple of weeks. Our pet community allows pet parents to connect with the pet, create their own safe groups and build their own communities. It'll record with parents share walks with their groups. It'll find pet-approved cafes and do a number of other things. The purpose of this is simply to build a community. And since we start talking about this, we've got huge interest in this as well as the product. How do we make money? In 2 ways. It's direct-to-consumer hardware-enabled SaaS model. LTV is CAC is 6 to 1. We'll also monetize the Waggy community for services on the platform, including online vet consultation, pet insurance, grooming, and dog walking. There's a lot of proven business models in that. The market opportunity is huge. We're focusing on IMA. IMA has 90 million dogs across 5 markets. 90 million dogs in IMA. We'll focus on 5 markets, which have 43 million dogs. 1 in 4 homes have a dog. Average spend is €1,000 per dog. We have 2 major IMA competitors, and in 2021, both of these raised money. So those 2 competitors are Kippy, which is based out of Italy. They raised $7 million, and the other competitor is Tractive out of Austria, and they raised $34 million to go into the US to compete with a product called Whistle. When we compare our product to Tractive, Waggy is 28% lighter, 70% smaller. An amazing statistic is that 15% of all posts on Facebook are about pets, so you can see the interest in pet. Where are we now with our business model? Well, our traction and milestones, as I said, we've raised 70,000 from grant funding. We've raised 82,000 from pre-seed investment, our angel investment. We've got a positive EBITDA based on the NFC product. We're building a Waggy community. Our prototypes will go live at the end of August. We're now ready to go crowdfunding. So we have engaged with Crowdcube in the UK, and we will go live with the crowdfunding program to raise 500,000 on a 2 million valuation in September this year. So we're in the process of raising some private money to match the crowdfunding. That's how the crowdfunding works. You must raise 60% of the money in advance privately before they'll switch on the public model, and we're doing that. I was delighted to see your invitation and to hear about you, because it gives me an opportunity to talk to people really who might be interested in relationships, in market opportunities and customers, and are raising private money. Our in-house team, I met my co-founder, Michelle. She worked with me as an account manager in 2008 to 2014. Then she went into tech, and she's now a product manager in a global payroll firm. myself, I've led and built multidisciplinary teams from the ground up. John, an advisor, he's held senior roles at Salesforce, LinkedIn, HubSpot, and specialized in business transformation. Our developer is a senior full stack engineer, and private investor has built a platform and has a very successful exit a couple of years ago. What else can I tell you about the business? Really Waggy, the future of connected pets. If you'd like to join our community, I'd love to talk to you. That's just a little bit about me. And I'm due to talk to you on Friday, so I'll tell you more. I'll send you the deck in advance of that.
Okay. Oh, you're on my calendar. Fantastic. Actually, the pet business is bigger than I ever imagined. Some people were showing me some numbers. It really blew my mind. So, you know, and maybe Scott knows more about it than I do, but nevertheless, I'd be interested in talking to you on Friday when you schedule time. Thank you very much, James. Does anybody have any questions before we move on? No problem. Okay. I actually just want to get as many people in as possible. That's what, so this would be perfect.
I love the format. Thank you so much.
It's an evolving format, and to everybody, please make suggestions how I can build the community better so it works for everybody. I'm just trying to figure it out myself, but I do like the energy and the quality of the talented people here. Really exciting. So thank you so much. James, if you can, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Mark, just what's very interesting, in Europe, there are a lot of competitors to what some of the people are talking about, and collaboration has never been more important in starting a business at the pace everything is moving at. So in one of the menstrual products, there's a great competitor started here. In the fans business, there's two companies here. We have two global companies here who are now in sports tech with all the GPS, and they're working with the NFL in the US. And I can introduce people to those. So I'll give you some information on Friday.
Perfect. That's exactly what I want to see, is people helping people. Okay, perfect. Thank you, James. I'm going to move on. If you can move to Toder, you're up next.
Hi, Mark. Thank you and Lachesar for the opportunity. It's been actually a great format. I'm really enjoying it. So I'm Todor Karalamov, and I'm a co-founder of Predigma and based in Boulder, Colorado. We are pre-seed stage and ultra deep tech company, startup. We are introducing a completely new paradigm for heart and brain diagnostics and perhaps treatment.
Heart and brain.
So when you hear heart and brain, it means that diagnostic is based on electrophysiology. So you're aware that, you know, there is a current that is going in our neurons and the same in the heart, but usually you don't have imaging of that. You have great opportunities like in MRI, ultrasound, CT, fantastic, but no functional imaging. You have functional signals like ECG, but do you see a picture of your heart or image of your heart where actually the electrical signals are coming from? Yeah, no. They have to be inferred somehow. So our technology is actually to produce the image of the heart with every, for example, for the heart, every ECG waveform that is directed to a specific part of the heart. So you know exactly where the problem is. So that's why I call it ultra deep tech. It requires a lot of actually quantum technology to detect the signals, to address the signals. It's quite complicated, but that's why we're working on that. So this could be used for not only for diagnostic purposes, but especially for the heart. You can do early detection of diseases, especially arrhythmias in their development. Of course, infarction. You have sudden heart death, and moreover, you can predict what may happen with the heart in the future, just by addressing and looking at those small changes that occur. For the brain, similar. Alzheimer's disease, we know that is connected with the neuronal tissue and its properties, tumors. And the last thing, but not the least, is brain-computer interfacing. Once we're detecting in the brain all the electrophysiology and reading it, not like electroencephalography where you have electrodes on the brain and you try to figure out where the signal is coming from. We're similar to the heart. We know in advance, like in MRI, that the signal is coming from a particular place. So now you can imagine that we have a small electrode that is done completely non-invasive. like the Neuralink, the Elon Musk's company, Neuralink, but they have to implant this chip in your brain. We can do it remotely, outside of the skull, just addressing the small pixels or voxels, in this case, in the brain, reading it, and not only reading those, but we can provide a back action, so we can actually address and change the values. So it's reading and writing. When I say we can, I'm saying that we project that, because we're in early pre-seed stage. Right now, we're trying to actually start the company, and we are raising $2 million for that, just to prove the feasibility. As an ultra deep tech, we need a lot of investment just to come to this stage. So the co-founder, it's me, another person that is currently involved in Northrop Grumman, and we have a very strong advisor. That was John George, who is the founder of the brain imaging group at the Los Alamos National Lab.
Do you have any patents? Or is that not really part
Not yet. That's why I don't want to go deep into the technology, how it works.
Okay. I would be very interested in learning more. I'm sure Anupam also would be interested in at least seeing your information. And I have another gentleman who was here earlier today, but he must have had to leave. I don't see him here, who also you should be in contact with. And actually that gentleman I want to introduce to you, Anupam, as well. Anyways, thank you very much for sharing. Although I don't completely understand it, it does sound intriguing, and I'd like to learn more. I understand secrecy and all of that right now. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Alejandro Picker, I have been working with, for at least known for a decade plus. And, you know, he's my favorite person, based in Puerto Rico, for everything that's business. Love to hear what you're up to and what the latest is.
Thank you, Mark. Yeah, really amazing group. I really appreciate everything that you do. I've known Mark, like you said, for over 10 years, and you know, always there to show support with a great smile and great energy. And we did run his program before, and we got over 100 you know, applicants that we interviewed of amazing talent across the board. So you know, thumbs up to your program, and thank you for all the help and support, you know, that you've done, showed in the past. So what I do is similar to Mark, you know, I'm passionate about, you know, clean energy, disruptive technology, helping to create solutions for the planet, and so that's how we actually connected many years ago. And so you know, I've created a solar company in the past, made over 7 figures in our first year, started from scratch as a co-founder, as a CTO. And, you know, I've worked with various different types of technologies. What I do is I connect with inventors of really advanced kinds of amazing technology to see how to address global solutions and to bring better economics, security, safety, to really help create a better Earth and environment. So I transitioned to quantum technology recently, and so one of the technologies that we have right now is called the Agrosonics. Okay, and so this is a device this is the checker, which is a holographic QR code right here that's used within the government, DoD, supply chain, and NASA as well. And this emits a certain frequency of ultrasonic, sonic, and subsonic to then boost up the plant production. So we've been able to, you know, triple the value for farmers. We've been able to increase plant production significantly in the cannabis space. We've done and have over 30% increase using the sonic technology on indoor licensed facilities. You know, it's amazing what it does. I can go into the science, the knowledge about that, but this is something that we're now in Puerto Rico actually working. We have there's a large federal backed project of over $100 million with our partners deploying these technologies, which I'll be managing and running. And as well, you know, so within this suite of the Agrosonics, we also have the flash, the checker, and also the biochip. And so we have a hyperspectral imaging camera, which has been tested and proven to be able to detect COVID actually in real time without any type of physical application, just by a scan. And it's beyond PCR quality. It's way more effective. We can also put these hyperspectral imaging cameras, which they use actually for NASA exploration to detect, planets, also for DoD to see what kind of missile, et cetera, very advanced type. But we're using it for agriculture right now. And we're learning how to implement and integrate this type of drone-driven hyperspectral imaging camera to then mitigate any type of crop loss, or also help you with seed-to-table type farming integration as well into blockchain, so that we can really help leverage and understand the quality of the food, where it came from, if there's mold, if there's any, breakouts, all those kinds of things, and then as well enhancing it with the agrosonic. So it's a kind of a full suite where we're looking to boost agricultural production, as well help monitor and track for seed to table. And then as well, there's other applications. So in what I do in terms of connecting with various technologies, one of the new innovations that I'm putting together is a new configured system where we have a patent pending microbial fuel cell, okay, that we are now combining with EMF electricity generation and crystalline battery energy, okay? And we are integrating this into a combined system, utilizing agrosonics and as well a energized water technology, where we can, in one self-contained system, have it self-powered by various inputs of electricity, where that it would be able to produce energy, remote energy, and on a significant scale, or economies of scale, and as well a constant feed of soil, to a constant feed of soil amendments, and as well a enriched water irrigation system. So, because everybody knows that there's a big need for soil, there's only about 60 years left or so. There's a big hype about that. Also, there's the grids of electricity are fading, and also water irrigation and nutrients. There's famines around the world, spikes of nutrient costs and fertilizers and things like that. So what we're looking to do is address multiple solutions in one system in this context, where you can then provide remote electricity, produce a continual source of soil amenities and soil feed, while providing enriched, energized water irrigation. And so this is a very hot topic for a lot of people, because this is what a lot of people need, and this will help to create sustainability. And then we use our sonic technology to enhance the water, the duckweed and other things that we have proven and demonstrated. And so, and so I'm just looking to getting more engaged with investors and groups and farmers. I see that there's a lot of great connections here that I'd love to follow up with and learn more. And I really appreciate everybody's time for sharing and listening, and I learned a lot. And thank you so much, Mark, for this opportunity. I look forward to continuing following along and participating.
My pleasure. And you're always welcome. And I have looked at some of Alejandro's technology. It's really good and worthy of a deeper dive if you would like to learn more. So I don't know, Alejandro, did you put your email or any information in chat? But if not, please do so, just in case somebody wants to at this stage reach out to you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, next up is Connor O'Brien.
Hey everybody, I'm Connor. We're working on something called Kindra. It's a software as a service platform for making quantum computing much easier to use for the general population. So right now it's really only used in specialized research centers like Google AI, or Amazon has their own research center in Pasadena. What we want to do is take these learnings from literature and the algorithms and the findings there in AI and transfer it to an easy to use platform for everyone to use. So you don't have to learn quantum mechanics and how to program to use it. Anyone, maybe a hobbyist could even use this to develop out logistics. You can use it for semiconductor design for VLSI. So there's someone in here that has a background in EDA. it could be useful for that. You do this for material science, for RF, for 5G or 6G. And there's medical applications for protein folding, pharmaceuticals, manufacturing, layout of factories, or designing solar panels. There's a whole bunch of different applications. It's basically you're able to use a much more powerful or faster computing platform than what currently exists, and making it much easier for everyone. So that's Kyndra that we're working on right now, and we just got into a couple different accelerators. There's Plug and Play and Sunnyvale, so they're a B2B SaaS accelerator, and then also UMD, University of Maryland, has their own quantum startup foundry. So there we're looking at different government customers and seeing how does this technology fit into different organizations or agencies, and how we could build something out there. So happy to take any questions or follow up later. I can put my contact information in the chat.
Please do. And just out of curiosity, do you have an ask? Is there a raise that's you're somehow here for, or?
Yeah, so it's angel or pre-seed or pretty early. You're looking at which verticals make sense, which customers and government or industry makes sense. So it's very, very early, somewhat higher risk.
Okay. Did you send me a deck yet? I apologize if you did, that I haven't looked. Too many.
I can do that. We also have an executive summary and some other.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
documents.
Start with an executive summary. I didn't fully understand what you were pitching, but I'd like to learn more. You seem like a smart guy, and I'm always interested in looking at everything. All right.
How much have you raised?
So we're bootstrapped so far. I put up the website. I mean, you kind of started off of a NOAA grant in February.
Grants? Ooh, love grants.
Yeah.
Yeah, so do I, right? And then, just building off of that momentum. So got interest from the government, FedTech, this program.
Wait, Connor, did you already connect with me on LinkedIn?
Maybe.
Yeah, definitely connect with me on LinkedIn.
Sure, we'll do.
Love to know more about this.
Yeah, so it's we haven't really even set a cap, trying to figure out what makes sense for everybody, or what the interest is.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
What's all that going on behind you? What's that writing on the
Secret
wall?
sauce.
Quick question. So how this compares to, for example, to the Qiskit, which is the IBM-backed open source platform? I don't know if you're aware of that.
So we can actually integrate with that. Think of us as an umbrella on top of different qubit providers. So you can mix and match your algorithms and your qubits, and you can make better use of all the different resources.
Thanks.
Okay. Interesting. It's above my pay grade, I think, but I'm intrigued to learn more. All right, so we're gonna close that out. All right, so I know you're not John, although I don't understand how everybody ended up being named John. Can you explain why that occurred, or does anybody know why we ended up having so many with the exact same name in the Zoom room? I'm perplexed how that works.
I can share why it happened. I had some problems. I had some problems with logging in with my own link, and I asked John to send me his link if it's possible. So basically, he sent me the link, and even though Zoom allowed me to change my name in the beginning, again it started with his name. So I don't know why Zoom does that, but
that was in the settings. It actually asked me if I wanted to let people change their names. I'm learning how all this works.
Yeah, so basically it's in this.
Okay. Welcome back.
Mark, you just gotta let people change their names.
I've been on the chat saying hi from 80s Lima. So
what the hell?
It's understood.
Another John, who the hell are you?
Oh, goodness gracious. I participated in last week's event, and I'm here again, just refreshing. I know there's a lot of new founders and investors as well. So just wanted to throw a pitch out there for Curiva again. I know, Mark, you and I have a pending meeting, and I pitched at one of the Startup Right events. So we're working towards our minimum viable product by the end of this year. Still fundraising a seed round of $2 million. And so basically with Curiva, we're creating the Patch, which is a real-time diagnosing patch that's a wearable, and it's for early detection of cervical cancer, but it's in the femtech space. So basically, we are a platform technology company, starting out with women's health cancers and expanding from there. So I just wanted to give a big shout out again. Thank you for allowing me to be part of this community. It's super well organized. I put some tips on the chat. I'd love to follow up with or chat over with you, Mark. And the rest
So
of the
if I
team.
understand correctly, women have this device that you've shown us before that is very invasive, that ends up being part of this process, trying to understand whether women have cervical cancer. And what you've invented is like a patch, right? Like there's something that's going to go, without sounding too sexy here, on the outside of the vagina. And instead of being an invasive type of a thing, this is a way of detecting it non-invasively. I've already asked my wife and my daughter whether they think this is a good idea, and I was shocked to hear how much they hate this procedure and how this would be exactly what they would like to see happen to get the same results. So it seems like it's a something. Anupam, you need to look into this one. You know the right people for this. Maybe you two can hook up together. If there's anybody else in the room that is in the healthcare space, medical space, you know, I'd love to see this get to the finish line. And I do look forward to when we talk next. So we are coming to 2 hours of the first meeting of everybody in our community here. In fact, somebody is coming in an hour late. I don't know how the community is going to evolve, but I'd like to continue to do this every single week. I hope that there's a reason for you to continue to come back. I'm, very anxious to build the community, open to all of your suggestions. If anybody would like to be a co-sponsor and help invite your network to future events so that we can continue to find the right people and attract the right people, which may not always come just from my own network, I would welcome that. Please email me and we can talk about how that might all work. I'm also interested in all your suggestions on everything about building this community. I see this really as an our community, not mine, even though I'm sort of spearheading this. I just know instinctively this is what's needed in the marketplace right now for at least some of you. It may not work for all of you, but for some of you, I'm 100% convinced that if we keep meeting, magic will happen, the right connections will happen. Investors like me are always looking. I'll tell you, when I sit on these investor panels and I sit on them for 3 different events, it's a blur. The pitch happens. We don't really get to know the people. We're focused on the slides, trying to read all that type. It's very hard to really dissect what's going on. I've always felt like there's a need for some way for us to get to know people more, the people behind these more, so we can feel comfortable about evaluating that piece of the equation. As an investor, I invest in people. It's hard for me to invest in business plans. When I invest in business plans, I lose my money. If the people are really the key to this whole thing. If you don't have the right people on your team, I'm here to help you build those teams. That's what I love doing because I see the results of it over and over again. It keeps working. It's no magic sauce, but it just keeps working. It shocks the heck out of me how few people focus on finding the people that they need to make the right introductions. And, that's what I'm hoping this will become over a period of time. I hope you will sign in again since we have this colossal craziness of more people wanting to get in tonight than actually could. And then half of the people, it looks like, didn't even show. So they took spots that they didn't even use, which is annoying as heck. So I need to find a way to get 100 people here that are all here at the same time. And I appreciate you who hung in there till the very end of this, but time is money, and we are at exactly 2 hours and 1 minute. So I'm going to call this first meeting closed for now. Thank you again, everybody, and please sign up for the next event early so you can be in. Take care, everybody. Thank you.
Thanks,
Good night. To all of
Thanks,
you.
Mark.
Thanks,
Good seeing everybody.
Great meeting all of you.
Bye.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.